got nothing to do with committee appointments. Let her submit a proposal to Anna.
She's here in Philadelphia. All she wants is half an hour. She's a bright girl, Swarthmore, and a doctorate from Penn. Her family has money. Carrie, are you listening?
Yeah.
She wants to lobby for a constitutional amendment.
Oh, she thinks Congress is going to suddenly roll over? I thought you said she was bright. Paula who?
Paul. Alice Paul. She worked in England.
Don't bring me any radicals, Harriet.
Well, she's not a radical. She's a Quaker. She came all the way down here to meet you and Anna. Be nice.
It's mine. Saw it first. It's calling my name. I must be deaf. Heads. It's not your style. Nice try. Carrie Katz's very proud of the state-by-state campaign. Congratulate her.
On what? 64 years of begging, and now women can vote in 9 states. How many years per state is that? You congratulate her.
We waltz in there and say, do the math. We won't get the letterhead or the office. Do you want to be 2 girls on a corner soapbox, or do you want to go to Washington and play with the big lads? I want them to give us the congressional committee.
What?
Did you swallow it whole?
I strangled it first.
The president of the National American Women's Suffrage Association, the Reverend Anna Howard Shaw.
Don't bring up suffrage in England. Shaw thinks the Brits are hooligans. No matter what, don't get your knickers in a knot. Don't start up. Be polite. I'm always polite. When am I not polite?
It's the color. With your hair.
The passage of a constitutional amendment is not a realistic goal.
It could become one.
Theoretically, yes, in the future. First, we need more states.
Susan B. Anthony petitioned for it in 1868 and again in 1870.
Thank you for the history lesson.
If Susan B. Anthony were alive today, she'd say 1912 is the future.
Dr. Shaw and I worked side by side with Susan and Elizabeth Stanton while you were still in diapers, Miss Paul. Would you do me a favor and please refrain from second-guessing her thoughts on this topic?
Do me a favor, don't second-guess Susan's thoughts on cheese. We worked side by side with Susan. We worked cheek to cheek with Susan. She despised cheddar, and she loathed Munster.
A constitutional amendment that gives women the right to vote, assuming it doesn't die in committee, will almost certainly be vetoed in the Senate. We waste time, we waste money. We squander the goodwill of the Democrats, and worse, we look like babies with no political savvy, which gives ammunition to our opponents. Have you any other thoughts, Miss Paul?
A parade. In March. The day Wilson's arriving for his inauguration. We're guaranteed a crowd and, hopefully, some badly needed publicity from the newspapers.
Mrs. Blatch tells me that you two met in England. Those women give suffrage a bad name.
Better than no name at all.
I beg your pardon?
Lucy was studying at Oxford.
What? I was.
While I'm in sympathy with the British suffragettes, I don't approve of their methodology. We don't throw bricks to make our position clear. If I send you to Washington, I want your assurance that there will be no hooligan tactics.
You have it. I don't consider myself above the law under any circumstances.
Then you may take over NOSS's committee in Washington. Have your parade, Miss Paul.
Thank you.
You'll have to raise your own funds, of course.
mind is inferior to the male mind need not be assumed.
There is something about
There is something about it
essentially different. And that this difference is of a kind and degree that with votes for women would constitute a political danger ought to be plain to everybody.
I do not wish to see the day come when the women in my state shall trail their skirts in the muck and mire of partisan politics.
These flippant girls,
singing votes for women. Votes for women. No, not the disasters they invite by this reckless movement.
Flip your forehead.
Who's it? Who's it?
How do you raise money to raise money?
Oh, excuse me. All we need is a handful of society women. I found someone who designs parade floats.
Floats? I thought we were going to keep this small.
Why? Because you've never organized a parade before.
Neither have I. It's not like giving a dinner party.
Have you ever given a dinner party?
No.
Then what are you worried about? Did you get the permit?
I've been to the district police 3 times
Go
this
over
week.
his head to the parks commissioner.
I could go under his belt.
I bet you would.
I think 1,000 women marching means more than 10,000 signatures on a piece of paper. Suffrage is not a dead issue. It's us. It's you. It's living, breathing women. We're not just a petition that can be crumpled up and tossed away. And this is what marching does. Marching shows the politicians that we women are united in our demand for political...
Show me a raise. Screw the politicians.
Go ahead if you think it'll help.
Now, there's 146 women burned to death in a factory fire last month. Where's your fire escape? Laws are made by elected officials. A fire escape can be required by law. A vote is a fire escape.
We take Sunday off to la-di-da for you. We get fired on Monday. You have children, missus? They don't eat ballots.
Go ahead, shut your head off. The ruling class are those who have a voice, and that voice is a vote. No one hears you. Votes for women.
The parade is going to happen, and please, would you like one? The more the merrier. Anyone? Дівчата, ви що? Vote is a fire escape. No, a vote is a fire escape. Not чого ж ви стоїте? That's right, a vote is a fire escape. Надюшка, візьми. Чого ж ви стоїте?
Mrs. Vinslowska. Друже. Alice Paul.
Now give me the rest, college girl.
Helen Keller's in town. Arrange for me to meet her. I don't know which hotel. She's deaf and blind. If she found it, I'm sure you can.
Hi, Mabel Vernon. I played hockey with Alice at Swarthmore.
Lucy Burns. DC police will not guarantee our safety if we march on the 3rd. Because Wilson's arriving.
We're not changing the date.
Exactly what I said. I like that one. And he said, well...
Miss, there might be trouble with inaugural crowds, and I'm afraid I won't be held responsible. And I said, look, mister, we're entitled to police protection. And he said, why don't you take my advice, you ladies? Why don't you just stay at home?
Miss Paul, Ida Wells Barnett from the Chicago delegation. I'm told you expect Negro women to march in a separate unit at the back.
Southern suffrage groups threaten to withdraw.
Are the ladies afraid we'll march out of step? Call their bluff.
We can't afford to lose their support, not with the Democrats in office.
Who's we? Women? Or just white women?
Now, wait a minute.
We have one agenda. Suffrage. Add another issue.
If we don't stand up now, what happens to Negro women when you finally get the vote? They'll keep us out of the polling place any way they can.
Other colored groups have agreed to the compromise.
Not perfect, but we gotta be practical.
Dress up prejudice and call it politics? I expected more from a Quaker. I'll march with my peers or not at all.
I understand.
Slurp you up like wine. Oh, baby, you are so sweet. You knock me off of my feet.
How are you, ma'am? Doris Stevens, National Women's Suffrage Association. We're short on volunteers today. If you have an hour to spare.
No, I can't. Not today.
Or if you'd like to make a contribution.
No, thank you.
Well, watch out, sweetheart. Hot soup.
Jenny. How are you, ma'am? I'm Doris Stevens, National Women's Suffrage Association. We're short on volunteers today. If you have an hour to spare.
I'm sorry, I can't.
Or if you'd like to make a pledge.
Another time, perhaps.
Come along, Jenny. Mind the wet. Jenny, come on, take my hand. How are you, ma'am? Doris Stevens, National Women's Suffrage Association.
We're going to solicit donations. Let's look like we need them.
I could tell you were from Wyoming. That's my favorite state. They gave women the vote from the get-go.
What a beautiful dog you're wearing. Didn't we meet at Mrs. Bellwood's lunch? I'm Doris Stevens, National Women's Suffrage Association.
By the politicians, by the newspapers. It's very important to raise awareness.
Senator Lee. See you.
Good evening, Senator.
Hi, John. Nice to see you.
Senator.
Beautiful, isn't it? Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm Lucy Burns.
Emily Layton.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. I'm actually part of NASA's Congressional Committee, National American Women's Suffrage Association. We're giving a parade. Have you heard about our parade?
I really don't follow politics, Miss Burns.
I haven't the head for it. We're citizens or we're chattel. You don't really need a degree from Harvard to figure that out.
Would you excuse us?
Oh, Senator Layton, it's very nice to meet you.
Mueller versus Oregon, 1908. Judge rules in favor of shorter working hours for women. Then it goes on record saying healthy mothers serve the public interest.
That was a victory. And as you're a labor lawyer, are you not? Those women were being exploited.
Sure, now they're being patronized. We're not broodmares. Labor law with a sexual bias will come back and bite us in the ass.
See, the issue is an opportunity. It's protection. Women need protection.
We all need protection. But when women complain, people call it hysteria, and then they rush to fetch the doctor.
As long as women accept protective law, they can't expect equality. They need full citizenship.
Ben Weisman.
Alice Paul.
Inez Milholland.
I'm hungry. Have you eaten?
A stout old maid with facial hair. Carrie Nation waving her axe. That's what people think of when you say suffragist.
So Nasa fights it with Madonna and Child?
Women who nurture the family, rock the baby, serve the dinner, serve society, serve society, always serving. But the new suffragist is single, young, independent,
educated,
and very, very beautiful.
She's you.
On a horse.
A cowgirl.
Warrior.
A herald.
Joan of Arc with 10,000 women following her down Pennsylvania
An
Avenue.
ideal woman who can lead us up the mountain.
Or off a cliff.
No.
Something like this?
Oh, hey, you could do this for a living.
You think so?
He does. What's the name of that miserable rag you work for? Oh, yeah, the Washington Post.
That's exactly what I want.
Have dinner with me tomorrow. When I do business with men, we have dinner. Don't you want equal treatment?
I'm having dinner with Helen Keller.
Oh, don't stare. She hates that. Have lunch with me.
I'd like to meet some Washington Post reporters.
After lunch?
Before.
Don't you trust me?
I don't know you.
Would you like to?
Well, see, Negro men have been voting since the Civil War. You think the ballots changed his life? It's a cash and carry country. What's a vote going to buy you?
Self-respect, for starters.
I vote and I have no self-respect. What do you think women are going to do when they vote? Reform politics?
Because we're morally superior? That's a nice fairy tale. I don't have any illusions about women. There's good and bad, just like men.
I don't know what they're gonna do with their vote, and I don't care.
Prohibition. Legalize birth control?
It doesn't matter. That's not the point.
What's the point?
We're legitimate citizens. We're taxed without representation. We're not allowed to serve on juries, so we're not tried by our peers. It's unconscionable, not to mention unconstitutional. We don't make the laws, but we have to obey them like children. Do you know the suffrage amendment has only once been voted on in the Senate? But we've got 9 states now. That's 4 million women voters, which means 1/5 of the House, 1/6 of the Senate, and 1/7 of the electoral votes come from suffrage states. You want to know what women can buy with that?
Were you the smartest girl in your class?
No. In the whole school.
Ah. Would you be talking to me if I didn't work for the Washington Post?
No.
Mm-hmm. Have lunch with me, Alice Paul.
This desk was Susan B. Anthony's. From the old headquarters. It was in storage. It's haunted. Did you kiss him? Because if you don't want him, I'll take him. Listen. Ask her how we'll get the amendment on the floor. What does she say?
She says, just do it.
Mr. President. Welcome, sir.
Welcome to Washington, Mr. President.
Why, design Commissioner Stevenson, right this way.
I thought there would be a big crowd. Where is everybody?
When's the last time suffrage was on the front page? Nation aroused by open insults to women, cause wins popular sympathy. Oh, look, another photograph of you, warrior princess, above the fold. Thank you.
Alice, you were right about the wings. Even those who are opposed to giving women the vote must now admit that the movement is no ephemeral thing.
The Evening Star blames the DC police.
So does the Post. My feet hurt.
We got lucky.
100 people in the hospital. You call that lucky, Miss Paul?
She means the extra publicity. Look, Anna?
The police were negligent. The Post is calling for an investigation. Wilson's a gentleman from the South. I don't see how he can deny a delegation of women, especially when they were practically molested at his doorstep.
A delegation?
Before the bruises fade.
Before he addresses Congress.
He's the President of the United States, Miss Paul. You don't exactly go calling on him as though he were the missus next door.
Oh, come on, Carrie. Can't a cat look at a king?
We should press our advantage.
I think you overestimate your advantage.
This is the first time the issue of suffrage has been brought to my attention.
Well, we hope that you'll support the issue in your address to Congress, Mr. President.
As I promised in my election campaign, Congress will focus on currency revision and tariff reform. These are issues which affect all Americans and, of course, must take priority over special interests. I can't very well instruct Congress on the merits of an issue I'm not familiar with. I hope you'll be patient while I educate myself.
Mr. President, how can you legislate tariff reform when not all citizens are able to vote for it? Isn't that why we fought the American Revolution?
Seated us in a circle like schoolgirls. He's stalling, Lucy. He knows Anna Shaw will press him.
here. Now's the time to train them. Lobby Congress. Really pressure both houses. Get the amendment on the floor and to a vote. It won't pass. Well, then we'll use that as an excuse to go after the Democrats. It'll be a thorn in Wilson's side. Shh. Rock in his shoe. We won't. Let up. We need a bigger headquarters. Any of your rich boyfriends on a building.
Would you please be quiet?
My sister is blind. I have to read the titles to her. That's it. You ruined it for me. Let's go. Come on. Let's go. Come on. Oh.
Instructions for lobbyists. Before you visit a congressman, look him up in our card index. What bills has he supported in the past? What's his suffrage record? Learn the names of his children.
We don't need women voting in South Carolina. We know how to take care of our women.
Be a good listener. Don't interrupt.
The majority of intelligent, refined, educated women in our country don't want it, and that's a fact.
Don't lose your temper.
I want you to get together.
Well, since you are suffragists, you won't mind standing.
Put your hand.
I'm with you, I'm for it, I'm gonna vote for it, now don't bother me.
I was beginning to worry.
Mrs. Martin tell you that I was going to be late. I asked her to call you.
You look tired.
Suffrage amendment. Finally made it out of committee. Took forever to defeat it. Senators love to hear themselves talk.
Well, what did they say? Why did they vote it down?
Because they know that you have your hands full with the children already. Rebecca learned any new words today?
Yes. Funny.
You didn't really expect the amendment to get a 2/3 majority, did you?
I don't expect, I plan. For every possibility I can imagine.
You don't like surprises, huh?
Not even on my birthday. Then plan, God laughs. Yeah, well, I'm not a man.
Ever wish you were?
Once. I saw my brother peeing his name in the snow.
Well, the wind is changing.
Oh, what? Alice Paul's new unauthorized fundraising committee. She's calling it the Congressional Union. See who's on the advisory board?
Not without my specs.
Phoebe Hartz, Helen Keller, Harriet Blatch. She's handpicked our best fundraisers. And that money should have come here to the national for state campaigns, not her propaganda sheet. You didn't authorize her to publish a newspaper.
Of course not.
Well, read the editorial. She's telling women to boycott Wilson in the next election.
Rarely in the history of the country has a party been more powerful than the Democratic Party is today. Those who hold power are responsible not only for what they do, but for what they do not do. If the Democrats refuse to enfranchise women, then it's incumbent upon voters to boycott President Wilson and his party in the upcoming election. President Wilson's inaction establishes just as clear a record as does a policy of open hostility.
Leave that. Maybe he'll feel he has to respond.
Wilson doesn't subscribe to this suffragist.
He reads the Evening Star.
Hello.
I apologize for not returning your calls.
One call.
Yours? It's the Colosseum, isn't it? Have you been to Rome?
Are you trying to make small talk? Because you stink at it. I know why you're here. The Star wouldn't print some tirade from your propaganda sheet and want me to grease the doors for you here at the Post.
Suffragist is not propaganda. It reports on suffrage news, and it's not a tirade. It's an editorial.
This paper supports the Democrats. Mr. Clayburgh isn't going to hand you editorial space. You want ink? Buy a pen.
All I want is 15 minutes with him.
Could we talk about it over lunch?
Dinner. And don't wear that hat.
I like this hat.
It's ballast, isn't it? If you took it off, you'd drift. You'd sleep late. You'd go to the park. You'd read magazines.
Detective novels.
Oh, go dancing?
Play tennis.
No rhythm? Am I getting too personal? I know what you're thinking.
That saves time.
Dinner on Friday work for you?
We must have a bad connection.
Julia passed away 4 years ago. Friday?
No night's good for me.
Because I don't have a wife?
Because you're a coward who won't champion a reasonable editorial.
Dinner? Francisco's Friday?
Bring your editor?
Ugh. All right, whatever.
Could you type this for me?
Oh, I'm just here to make a donation.
Well, it won't take you long. The typewriter's here.
Well, I don't know how to type.
The letters are on the keys. Thank you. Yes. Oh, thank you. Nice. Did you sign up for training? We need volunteers to lobby for the amendment.
I'm Senator Layton, so he doesn't approve.
If everyone approved, there'd be no point to it, would there?
Well, I love my husband. I see no reason to publicly embarrass him.
Women like you are worse than anti-suffragists. You perpetuate the lie every day at breakfast.
I beg your pardon. You don't know what you're talking about.
Hi, Mr. Weissman. Of course, follow me.
My father went to the bathroom. My shoe. It's untied.
You mind?
He's the youngest newspaper editor I've ever met.
You want to split the manicotti?
You're back early.
He had to take his son home.
His son? Hey, my sister had the baby. A girl. She had a girl. God, one more year, I'm gonna be 30. Can just see it now. I'll end up back in Brooklyn with a hairless cat. Called Lester.
Give the baby making to women who aren't lucky enough to have your brains or your ability. Don't complicate your life.
My mother had 8 of us. Elizabeth Cady Stanton had 7. When she and Susan Anthony worked together, they took turns feeding the baby.
I'm not feeding anyone's babies. Are you done? Let's go over the budget.
In the morning, I'm too tired.
Think how tired you'd be if you had 7 children.
I'm tired of being alone. If you say you're not, you're a liar.
Before you sit down, Miss Cole.
$25,343.88 is a very impressive total. Why hasn't any of that money been forwarded to the National Treasury?
It was collected by the Congressional Union. The union was created to fund the Congressional Committee's efforts to lobby Washington for a federal amendment. We're not budgeted by the National Treasury.
I move to suspend the activities of the Congressional Committee, during which time the board will investigate unauthorized expenditures.
Second the motion.
Did you hear that? Investigation of our finances. Good. Great, let them keep their congressional committee. We can run our own campaign. The hell with NOSA.
I don't want to fight other women.
Well, Carrie Cat is the next president of NASA. I don't think she is a woman. Seriously, has anyone seen her naked? She called you a thief. If you don't resign from the committee, she's gonna make sure you voted out, and then what? We're gonna fold our hands like good little girls? Do what Mama says? Hope that Wilson will pat us on the fanny when he goes by. Look at me. No one will blame you if we split with NASA. They're not giving us any other choice.
National Woman's Party is composed entirely of women and does not align itself officially or unofficially with any existing political party. The NWP does not put forth a candidate for election. We are a single platform party dedicated to the passage of the following constitutional amendment. The right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or any state on account of sex. We pledge unceasing opposition to any and all political candidates who refuse to support this amendment.
And in the matter of foreign trade, the economy demands
Norsa does not support the National Woman's Party.
Mrs. Paul says she plans to organize women in the
Ms.
Western
Paul is
states.
taking a thoughtless and irresponsible stance that amounts to an endorsement of the Republican candidate.
You think Alice Paul's Western campaign will cost Wilson his re-election?
President Wilson has kept us out of the war in Europe, and Norsa will continue to endorse him, as will women voters in the West. I want you to get together.
Give it to Mrs. Harold for expense money. She's a widow now.
Yeah, got it.
It isn't fair.
Should have called heads.
Mrs. McEwen!
Hey, buck up. I'm only going to one state. I'll be the first one back. Come here.
Alice?
Yeah.
Alice.
Inez wants you. Where is she? She's by the side entrance.
I can't go to California. You have to find someone else.
There is no one else. You're the woman on the horse. You can make or break a rally.
Alice, I can't tell you. I'm sorry. I'm exhausted.
Run around Europe, waste your time on peace missions, and now you bail when it really matters?
Waste my time? You couldn't say that if you'd been with me in France.
We're not in France. We're in the United States, and people want to hear Inez Milholland.
Oh, stuff 'em. Nothing's more important than ending a war. Not suffrage, not anything. You can't understand until you've seen it.
Inez, this is an election year.
And you're wearing blinders.
I'm seeing around the corner. You hear that? It's a military ban. You want a war, here's your war. This war's been going on for over half a century. The women who started it are dead and buried. Here's where it ends. Now is when we win. You're tired, I'm tired. Who isn't tired? But don't sit down yet. If the woman on the horse drops out, what message is that going to send the troops?
Oh. I can't say no to you.
Then why try?
Get some sleep on the train. You look awful.
That's the spirit.
Even God rested on Sunday. Come on, I'll let you drive.
I'm busy.
Well, you do know how to drive, don't you, Miss Paul?
Is that a car or a quilt?
You want to learn? Easy. Watch, you gotta keep your head up when you're driving. That's very important to watch the road. A little easier when you let out on the clutch. Okay, there we are. That's better. Okay, watch the road. Watch the road. Keep your head up. Don't look so tense. Go. Watch the road. Watch the road. Watch the tree. Got the clutch, the brake. Brake. My little sister picked it up just like that. You look at your feet when you dance, don't you?
I'm a Quaker, we don't dance. What?
Take off the damn hat. Okay. Come on now, put it in reverse. Keep your head out, don't look down.
All the fear has left me now. I'm not frightened anymore. It's my heart that pounds beneath my flesh. It's my mouth that pushes out this breath.
Did you see the paper? The National Woman's Party is traveling west by train. Well, they will embark on a speaking campaign, urging women voters to vote against the Democrats in this election who oppose a federal amendment. Noted contributors to this effort include Mrs. Thomas Layton.
I used my housekeeping allowance, that's all. It has nothing to do with you.
Emily, I'm a Democratic senator. You're my wife. It's got everything to do with me. You'll withdraw your membership.
They count on my monthly contributions.
I've closed your account. You can charge at the grocer's, and the bills will be sent to my office.
Mr. President, how long must women wait for liberty?
I do not believe that women will vote in a national election on the
We
suffrage
declare
issue.
our faith in the principles of self-government.
If they were to, they would not be as intelligent as I think they are.
That woman, irrespective of her race, was made first for her own happiness, with the absolute right to herself to all opportunities life affords.
Women should be patient and continue to work in the admirable way they have worked in the past, campaigning for suffrage state by state.
We ask of our rulers no special favors, no special privileges, no special legislation.
I am very glad to make my position about the suffrage plank clear to you. My private thoughts aside, I am not at liberty to urge upon Congress policies which are not supported by the party for whom I am a spokesman.
We ask justice. We ask equality. We ask that all the civil and political rights that belong to citizens of the United States be guaranteed to us and our daughters forever.
What? What, Lucy?
Inez. They took her to the hospital.
But she's all right, isn't she?
My dear Inez.
Dear Inez.
Dear Inez.
How can death claim you? And I, remembering how the faces of many women turn toward you with expectation. How can I find consolation?
Lucy Burns called again. You are being ridiculous. She was a grown woman. She knew she had pernicious anemia. Stop blaming yourself.
My coming home has nothing to do with Inez. Campaign's over, that's all.
You put your hand to the plow, you finish the row.
What are you doing up here?
Canning fruit.
What fruit? It's winter.
Winter fruit.
You needed a rest, okay? You had a rest. You feel bad about it, Nez. We all do. It's awful, but it's not over.
Inez was tired. She asked me to replace her.
Nobody ever made Inez Milholland do anything in her life.
Well, she couldn't say no to me. Don't you read the Ladies' Home Journal? Alice Paul is relentless. Do it for suffrage. Do it for suffrage.
That's what we need to hear.
We'll get a parrot.
Don't use her as an excuse. She would hate that.
She said, men plan, God laughs. You ever wonder what we're doing, Lucy? Because it seems like he is laughing. And it's so unfair. That anyone should have to die in a fight that shouldn't even be a fight. Especially her. Isn't it ridiculous? She's dead. And we're right where we started, which is nowhere at all. I'm lost, Lucy.
We laughed too. Remember? In London? That time that we hid in the coat closet so that we could interrupt Parliament? And you had to pee? And I said to you, I said, hey, here's some Lord's boot. Go ahead. I thought to myself, if she's game for that, that's it. We're gonna be friends for life. We laughed. You know, we can still laugh. I don't see that there is any other way, you know? That is what we do. We piss in the boot. We come out, guns blazing. Yeah. I wish Alice was here. Yeah. My friend Alice, you can't say no to her. It's beautiful. Hey. Heads will milk cows. Tails will go and find Wilson's boots. Hmm?
permanent sentinels at the White House gate, from dawn until dusk, every day, until the Constitution of the United States is amended to ensure that every citizen, regardless of sex, is entitled to vote for the man who occupies...
Or woman.
Or woman. Who occupies that house. Give that good boy an extra cookie.
Silent, silly, and offensive. A man's mind would never dream of something at once so petty and so monstrous. Oh, listen to this. The demonstration was denounced by President of the National American Women's Suffrage Association, Mrs. Carrie Chapman Catt, who pointed out that the NWP, which is us, represents only 10% of the nation's suffragists. Is that true? Did she make that up? I think she might have made that up. What's that? What are you doing?
I'm heating up bricks for the girls to stand on. It's freezing out there.
Give them double coats. Check to see who can donate coats, gloves, sweaters, scarves. Try Mrs. Belmont. The president smiled and waved to the ladies as his automobile swept into the ground.
Oh, funny baloney pazzola.
Mr. and Mrs. Richard Lane announced the marriage of their daughter Susan to Roland Ashmore. Just trying to mix it up. Captain of British steamer made prisoner by German U-boat. German submarine sink 5 more ships.
They're within their legal rights.
They'll get tired of the cold. It won't last.
How about their trespassing? On public property?
The avenue is misty gray, and here, beside the guarded gate, we hold our golden, blowing flags and wait.
Emily? Emily?
Senator Myers drafted a bill that would outlaw treasonous banners.
Those banners quote the president.
You're a brave girl.
This continued picketing by the National Woman's Party is the single greatest obstacle to the suffrage amendment. We do not support it, and we have made that clear to the president.
The suffrage committee from Michigan is here to picket their buses. Can we put them up?
Ask Mrs. Lewis.
Toilet's not working in the upstairs bathroom.
Mabel.
Can I have dinner with Ben Weissman?
Ask your mother.
I don't want to step on your toes, so you're not seeing him?
No.
Well, that's what I told Lucy, but...
Heard you gave away your bow.
Bo?
Pardon my French.
If you mean Weissman, he's not, and I didn't.
He only asked Doris out because you never say yes. Don't you want to get married, Alice?
I'm busy that day.
All the men I meet are idiots. Or terrified of me. But if I met someone like Weissman, I would latch on to him like a mollusk.
It wouldn't be fair. To him or Michael. A little boy needs a mother. My whole heart's in this fight.
There's nothing to spare, not if I mean to win.
You underestimate your heart.
When you're alone, you can make any choice you want. But when someone loves you, you lose that right. I won't give anything away until we have it all. I can't.
Everything's a trade-off, isn't it?
Seems to be.
Tom, I need to tell you. I want to tell you. Tom, yeah. Tom, I have something to...
Looks like we've had enough of Kaiser Wilhelm. The United States is declaring war.
There are, it may be, many months of fiery sacrifice and trials ahead of us. It is a fearful thing to lead this great peaceful people into war,
Into the most terrible and disastrous of all wars. We shall fight for the things which we have always carried nearest our hearts.
Now, we shall fight for democracy, for the right of those who submit to authority to have a voice in their own governments. Wilson's going to fight for their rights?
No, he's not gonna fight. He's gonna send men to fight the Kaiser for him. He's gonna stay right here and tip his hat to all the American women standing at his gate.
There won't be any women standing at his gate.
What?
We can't picket a wartime president.
Yeah, why the hell not?
It's treason, that's why. Treason is betraying your country. Petitioning is not treason. At worst, it's just rude.
Give it any name you want. The war changes everything.
This is not our war.
Women have husbands. Women have sons.
No one is gonna thank us if we all slink off to roll bandages.
Not about being thanked.
This is my country, and if our soldiers need bandages, I'm rolling bandages.
Roll them on the picket line.
Look, we kicked ourselves when we dropped the cause during the Civil War. And what happened? Congress gave Negro men the vote and told women to wait their turn, right?
And we're still waiting.
Tell me to be there, and I will.
Be there, right? Right? Alice, tell her.
Inez said there was nothing more important than ending a war.
Jesus, Mary, and Joseph.
Hey, you want to go put your ear to your desk?
If we push Wilson now, there's going to be consequences.
Yeah.
For everyone.
Land hard, roll left. We shall fight for democracy. He said it. We should have to eat it and choke. I'm not saying that we ignore the war. I'm saying that we saddle up and fight it. He can't fight for democracy abroad and deny it here at home. He can't.
No mothers on the picket line.
I know Alice Paul on the picket line either.
I can't ask women to risk it
No,
unless I risk
listen
it
to
with
me.
them. No one's on the
I'll
line if
picket.
I'm not on the line.
I'll be us on the picket line. Don't argue with me. You're Mama Duck. We follow you. If you go down, they'll scatter. Use your head. One of us on the line is enough.
Flip you for it.
No, it has to be me. I photograph better than you.
I can't tell you
what's right and what's wrong, not now. Not this time. I thought about what I would say to you. You've all worked so hard for so long, and I am grateful to all of you. No matter what you decide, no one will judge you. Certainly not me.
Never thought they'd pick at a wartime president.
Public opinion may put a stop to it.
And if it doesn't?
The president needs your support! Maybe you should go to Germany! Maybe you'd be happier there! Shame on all of you! Shame on every one of you! You should be home right now!
He made you district commissioner. He's commander-in-chief now. The commander-in-chief doesn't get spanked by his mommy. Not with the whole world watching.
I'm sorry, miss, you're under arrest.
What?
All of you.
What? We haven't done anything. What's the charge then? What? I'm talking to you. What is it? What's the charge?
Contact the families. Maybe go down to the station and call me when you get there.
If we want to hold him, we got to charge him with something.
What? Obstructing traffic.
These arrests are purely political. The charge of obstructing traffic is political subterfuge. We know,
and I believe the court knows, that President Wilson and his administration are responsible for our
We are not guilty.
We're not guilty of any offense.
I will continue to plead for the political liberty of American women.
Where 16 of us face your
Where
judgment
10 of us face your judgment
Where 12 of us face your judgment today.
There will be 60 tomorrow.
I find these defendants guilty as charged of obstructing traffic in violation of the police regulations and the Act of Congress. $10 each or 60 days in the Occoquan workhouse.
To pay the fine would be admitting guilt. We haven't broken the law. Not $1.
60 days in Occoquan.
Should we ask for presidential pardon?
There's nothing to be pardoned for. The charges were false.
American citizens were arrested on a bogus charge while exercising their constitutional right.
Just get them out and appeal. 60 days for obstructing traffic? It's got to be coming from the district commissioners. They're appointed by the president.
Are we picketing tomorrow?
Yes, no mothers. Hold on. The Times? Don't bury this. What's your name? Hold on. Find a marshal and file a... Just get them out. What? No. OCCOQUAN. It's a workhouse in Virginia. Matthew O'Brien, he'll take the case.
Alice.
All right, man. Let's go. Load up. Yes, sir. Come on. All right, get on board.
We're political prisoners. We wear our own clothes.
You wear what they all wear.
I want to see the warden.
You want to see him naked?
We haven't eaten. We have been sitting here for hours. We need food.
You'll eat when it's time to eat. You'll bed down when it's time to bed down. Now you bed down. Matron!
We are not guilty of any crime. We're political prisoners. Now, I want these women fed and given pen and paper to write to their families. And we want our own clothes back. Now!
Now, you bed down.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Ah! You're hurting me! You don't have a right!
Mrs. Lewis! Sir! Lieutenant Stevens! Is anybody hurt? Russia! Russia, are you there? Catherine!
No talking.
Lock down. Lock it down.
If she opens her mouth again, put a buckle gag on her.
Yes, sir.
Any of them!
Where are the girls?
I had Mrs. Quinn take them to my mother's. To free you up. I know how busy you are with all your suffrage activities. People saw you and Jenny at the suffrage trial. I don't know what kind of mother takes an 11-year-old to a district courthouse. Did you give her a look at the jail, too?
I'll go and get them after breakfast.
No, you won't. You leave them be. I don't know a judge in this district who would give you custody right now.
You won't take my children.
How will you stop me? Can you afford an attorney?
An attorney? To prove what? That I'm their mother? And what will your judge say? That this is your house and your children? What am I to you, Tom? What am I then in your house? Chattel? This is how you punish me? I'm their mother! They are not your children to take.
can't find my hat.
Which hat?
What do you mean, which hat? My hat.
Where were you when you took it off?
Jesus Christ, Mabel, if I'd remember, I'd know where it was. Have we heard from O'Brien?
He filed the writ. He's meeting with the judge. He'll call us back. Home Defense League revoked Maud Younger's permit to speak in Nashville. According to Senator Walsh, we're called the Iron-Jawed Angels. Is that supposed to be an insult? And, oh, Carrie Catt told the New York Times that we were no better than anarchists and draft dodgers.
We drew straws to see who would bring you dinner. I lost.
I'm not hungry. You can have. How can you eat with Doris in jail? I can't find a photographer to show up at the Westgate tomorrow.
Call the Post. Talk to the news editor.
He said 326 Americans died at a ridge. He said I wasn't holding any cards. He said I should know when to fold.
You just know about the ace up your sleeve. You couldn't fold if your life depended on it. You don't know how. Don't take that as a compliment. Look, Doris is having the time of her life. Don't worry. She'll write a book about it. Changed my mind about the hat. It suits you.
Ben. Ben. Mabel, how many volunteers do we have for tomorrow's picket line?
I have to check my list.
Okay, well, add my name.
No, I won't. Alice, they'll lock you up, and it won't be for a lousy 60 days either. We need you out here. Besides, I promised Lucy I wouldn't until we were up a creek, dead in the water.
Mabel, add my name.
I believe the might of America is the sincere love of its people for the freedom of mankind. Woodrow Wilson, March 6, 1915. We have forgotten the history of our country if we have forgotten how to agitate when it is necessary. Woodrow Wilson, September 8, 1916. Liberty is a fierce and intractable thing to which no bounds ought to be set. Woodrow Wilson, a message to Congress. There is nothing in liberty unless it is translated into definite action. July 4th, 19
make any plea before this court. I have nothing to do with the making of the laws which have put me in this position. I am not here because I obstructed traffic, but because I pointed out to President Wilson that he is obstructing democracy.
Refused.
What do you mean?
Mrs. Layton made it very clear I wasn't her attorney. And she instructed the court not to accept bail or fees on her behalf. And she gave a statement to a reporter. She said that in prison or out, American women are not free.
No talking.
It's warm in here. Can we open a window?
Get to work.
Can't you see she looks faint? I'm only asking that you open a window.
Matron, my needle broke. May I have another?
That's better, isn't it?
Put her in solitary. You. Clean that up. I'll have to report this to the warden.
I'm entitled to clean water and an empty slop bucket.
Lawyer, not a magician, Miss Vernon. Whitaker says no one in solitary can see counsel. No one sees counsel. It's a new prison. The jerks got the run of the place until they get their paperwork in order. I need a judge who's not on a string.
We can't have a martyr on our hands. Get on your feet!
What are you doing?
Okay.
I'm Dr. White, Alice. The district commissioner asked me to speak with you. Do you know where you are?
District Prison Hospital. The mental ward.
You refuse to eat. Can you tell me why?
The hunger strike was a tradition in old Ireland. You starve yourself on someone's doorstep until restitution is made and justice is done.
Doesn't sound like a very effective method.
A stinking corpse on your doorstep? What will the neighbors say?
So you stand on the president's doorstep. He's treated you very badly, hasn't he?
It's the law that treats women badly.
But you picket President Wilson. He's the one who put you here.
We picket the office of the presidency. It has nothing to do with Mr. Wilson and everything to do with the position he holds.
But he's responsible for your treatment here.
I believe I was sent here by a district commissioner.
You You call yourself a suffragist.
Yes.
Tell me about your cause. Just talk freely. Explain yourself. Do you understand the question?
You asked me to explain myself. I just wonder what needs to be explained. It should be very clear. Look into your own heart. I swear to you, mine's no different. You want a place in the trades and professions where you can earn your bread. So do I. You want some means of self-expression. Some way of satisfying your own personal ambitions. So do I. Want a voice in the government under which you live. So do I. What is there to explain?
She shows no signs of persecution mania or delusion. I concur with Dr. Hickling. There is no medical basis for a diagnosis.
You don't feel she needs to be permanently hospitalized?
For her own safety. She's suicidal. You said so in your report. The prison doctor said so.
I said she was prepared to starve to death in order to further her cause.
Okay. I'm not a doc, but that sure sounds unhealthy to me.
Give me liberty or give me death. Patrick Henry, an American hero.
Apples and oranges.
In Oranges and Women, courage is often mistaken for insanity.
Eyes front! Eyes front!
Hunger strike.
Standing by my window on a cold and cloudy day.
Quiet!
When I saw that hearse come rolling for to carry my mother away.
Quiet!
Be unbroken.
Get her out of here.
By and by, Lord, by and by. There's a better
Sit here, Mrs. Layton. Senator, you need to stay where you are.
She's ill. Emily. Has she seen a doctor?
She's not ill, sir. She refuses to eat. Maybe you can persuade her.
I'd like to be alone with my wife.
Only monitored visits. Those are the rules. Sorry. No exceptions.
How are the girls?
Emily. I want you to come home.
No physical contact with the prisoner.
I'll speak to President Wilson. He can issue a pardon.
For what? I haven't broken any laws.
The girls keep asking for you.
If Rebecca can't sleep, just sit beside her and pat her hand. Sometimes I do that.
Emily.
They are the only reason I am here.
That's all the time we have.
New York has voted to enfranchise women.
Carrie.
I've never pressed you for a federal amendment, Mr. President. New York. That's 232 presidential electors.
We're at war.
Then call it a war measure.
Congress will never pass it.
If you support it, they will.
I'm sorry. You've been very patient, I know. Be patient a little longer.
I was put in a straitjacket and taken to the psychopathic ward. I could not see my family or friends. Counsel was denied me. I saw no other prisoners and heard nothing of them. I could see no papers. Today I was force-fed for the third time. I refused to open my mouth. My left nostril, throat, and muscles of my neck are very sore. I vomit continuously during the process.
Political prisoners.
Are you saying force feeding is a medical procedure? Why can't these women see their lawyers?
We have no such thing in this country.
Are there doctors present for this procedure?
The president has ordered more than one investigation. And no abuse has been disclosed.
Who ordered the force feeding?
Let's not waste time with pleasantries. I'll be blunt, may I? The foreign press will pick this up. You can tell the president that he can look like a damn fool or he can deal me in. Now, sir?
This war could not have been fought by America if it had not been for the services of women.
You're being released.
We have made partners of the women in this war.
Let her be.
Shall we admit them only to a partnership of suffering and sacrifice and toil, and not a partnership of privilege and right? I know the magic it will work in their thoughts and spirits if you give this thing to them that is mere justice. We shall need their moral sense to preserve what is right and fine and worthy in our system of life. Be assured, the voices of the radicals who agitate and disrupt have no influence here today.
Got it.
The task of woman lies at the very heart of the war. And I know how much stronger that heart will beat if you do this just thing and show our women that you trust them as much as you, in fact, depend on them. We shall deserve to be distrusted if we do not enfranchise them with the fullest possible enfranchisement, as it is now certain the other great free nations will enfranchise them. Have I said that the passage of this amendment is a vitally necessary war measure? And do you need further proof?
Congress doesn't make it a law. 36 states have to agree, and then they put it in the Constitution. We need one more state. Hold still, Francis.
I want a red rose.
No, you don't. Red is what the anti-suffragists wear. We don't need any more stars.
I can cut as many as I want. Miss Paul said I could.
What? I can't hear.
They're going in now. Ruja says we're short one vote. We had Turner last night. This morning he was wearing red. Five will get you 10. They sent a whore to his room. We'll move to New Zealand. Women have been voting there since 1893.
Yeah, I don't want to raise sheep. Russia's got the vote.
Among winners.
Yeah, I'd rather shovel than shear. So that's your plan then? Expatriate sheep farmer?
Let's hear your plan.
I'm gonna pray that God is a woman.
Mr. Gordon? Nay. Mr. Wells? Nay. Mr. Grayson? Aye. Mr. Fleming?
Nay.
Telegram, sir. It's from your mother.
Mr. Turner?
Nay.
Traitor!
Mr. Byrne? Mr. Byrd.
Aye.
We better go outside. There'll be reporters here in a minute. How's my hair? Red. Good.
You can depend on certainty. Count it out and weigh it up again. You can be sure you've reached the end, and still you don't feel. Do you know you're beautiful? Do you know you're beautiful? Do you know you're beautiful? Yes, you are. You can ignore what you've become. Take it out and see it again. You can be here was standing by my window on one cold and cloudy day when I saw that hearse come rolling for to carry